This is ridiculous. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to part two today, Tech Tuesday. How are you guys doing? This is your girl Ericka from the Classic Climb blog. You already know what time it is. Come on through. We have a special guest, Tamika Reed of Women in Linux. And you know, you guys, we have the internet is very rich with the data, but make sure you're getting the right data. So we have a lovely spreadsheet of Glassdoor salaries for you guys. But also, I want to talk with Miss Reed here about the ways to get taken seriously into tech because so many people want to break into tech and they want to get good jobs. Miss Reed, introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, Tamika Reed, founder and core founder, however you want to look at it, of Women in Linux. We've been around now 6 years. I've been doing Linux administration, DevSecOps. I've been doing Linux administration now for uh, 20 years, DevSecOps the last 10, 12 years. And also on top of that, I also teach and train. And also on top of that, if you're in DevSecOps or if you're in Linux administration, you're automatically in cybersecurity. It's just one of them things you can't escape. It's just one of your skill sets that you get into. And we have meetups every Wednesday for
Mhm.
really talking about breaking into tech and also the skills that you need, salaries. We talk about everything, and then we have our shows on the weekends as well too. So we try to get in and try to talk about everything, tech, money, investments. You know how we do, Erica.
Listen, you already know. And where can they find you on the internet before we start talking?
Okay, yeah, you can find me on the internet everywhere. Women in Linux. If you look up Tamika Reed on LinkedIn, I'm Tamika Reed on LinkedIn. But if you're looking for Women in Linux, it's everything Women in Linux. That's where you'll find me at. Facebook, even we even have Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Women in Linux everywhere.
Okay. Listen, you guys see the thumbnail. I thought it was funny just for a good laugh.
Yeah, I saw the thumbnail.
And you know, there's a lot of misconceptions about tech and jobs um and so let's dismiss some of that, right? Let's dismiss some of that. What are people thinking when they come into tech? What are some of the entry level income they're going to be seeing out here?
That's really let me put it like this: it's job dependent and skill dependent. What I really been focusing on is pushing people towards writing down their skills, and actually labeling those skills. Like give them a category of 1 to 5. And the reason for that is so that way when you come across a job, you can look at what they're requiring and you can set up what I like to call a skills matrix. And what this helps with is it helps you kind of label yourself of like where you want to go. So depending on what you're doing, you can go anywhere from 60,000, you could be at 70,000, you could be at 100,000. It also depends on if you have a degree or not. So there's a multiple lanes and multiple situations here, but I want people to really understand is don't sit on the sideline and let life pass you by. Go ahead, get on a coaching call, go ahead and get some skills. AWS has to train. I think AWS has an initiative to train 30 million people by 2025. So all their training is free.
Mhm.
IBM has an initiative to train, I think, 1 million people in cybersecurity for the next 5 years. That training is free. So if you worried about, oh, I don't have the money, no,
Mhm.
just say you don't have the time
Right.
and you're not sure what you need to do. So that's why you need to probably have somebody guide you, set up, set up a actual path so that you understand what you do, what you need to do, and your next steps following that.
Right. So, you know, we've had you on the show before. We had, again, new people. We've got a new Facebook group's got 14,000 people just in case they catch this video. what are the three things you recommend are the bare basics? You probably said it a million times, but say it one more time for us like it was the first day ever.
Okay, so the bare basics, if you're following anything DevSecOps, site reliability engineering, anything platform engineering, you're gonna need to understand Linux as a baseline. You're gonna have to understand cloud as a baseline. And then you need to understand, and this is where we get into the weeds, automation. Now,
Mhm.
automation could be automation in Terraform, it could be automation in Ansible. And each one of those classes or each one of those certificates, if you want to get the cert, have inclusive of cybersecurity. There's more, but again, that's just at a baseline. If you want to get a job, say, hey, I want to get a job. I tell people to go learn Linux. Once you learn Linux, you'll get the foundation of, and the foundation of that, you can get a baseline job, and then everything else you can skill stack on top of that. So
Right.
that's my approach, because most people are like, well, if I study this, do I get a job? Well, yeah, if you study A+, you might get at the help desk, but it may not be enough to pay your bills. I know for a fact that if you get a job, if you understand Linux, you can more than likely get a job immediately and work your way up from there. Now, that working your way up really depends on you and how immediate you want to move through tech.
Right. Um, this guy said the average house is 400K. We need a 100K tech job like yesterday. You guys, I did, we have a lot of people, and a lot of times I talk about mindset on this channel, and we talk about mindset because the number one question we get is, am I too old? Will I be able to get a job? How soon can I get a job? A lot of this is like a fear kind of decision
Hmm.
making, and you can't go through life like that. That's just not healthy for one, and for two, we got you got one of my VAs to throw together a kind of spreadsheet, if you will, of
Hmm.
career range pay, because there's so much misinformation, and everybody thinks YouTubers are selling a dream,
Hmm.
and I want that to not be the thought
Right.
process. Is this big enough? Can y'all see this? Do I need to make it bigger?
Well, here's
Okay.
here's a different
Mhm,
mindset, right? You say,
mhm.
people say, am I too old to be in tech? Are you ever too old to be broke?
Right,
Are you ever too
right.
old to be broke? Broke
Mhm,
has no age limit. So, if you don't want to be broke all your life, I
mhm.
suggest you get a career path. And a lot of people need to understand, all of tech isn't technical. There's
For sure.
so many different avenues of tech, right? There's so many different avenues you can get into in tech.
Yeah, I had a different. I think he gave me the serious list. I was looking for the entry level list, but okay. Either way, this is good too. It's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
how the
yeah.
screen. We'll go over it, but not all of it, but just a piece of it.
Got you.
Uh
Yeah,
huh.
yeah. What I'm looking at right here looks like really more like a software Q&A, quality assurance,
Mhm.
getting into and breaking into testing. So
Mhm.
let's 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 think about it this way. Um, if you went to Gmail, right? If you went to
Mhm.
your Gmail, or if you have a Gmail account or a Gmail email account, everything in there is a service, right? You got Google Sheets, you have all of their Google Sheets, their email, your Google Drive. All of those are different services, and on top of that, somebody has to test to make sure those services work. Anytime they push out an update, anytime they're some type of hack or something of that nature, those services need to be tested. Somebody needs to document that. Like, how do you use Gmail? How do you send an email? How do you do a BCC or a CCC? So that's an actual job as well too. Somebody testing it, that's an actual job as well too. And so that's what you see here with the QA testing, black box testers, functional QA, manual QA. Somebody deploys an application, we deploy a new application. Does it work?
Mhm.
Does it work? Is it easy for the consumer to use?
Right.
Does it
Big
make
stuff.
sense? That's literally somebody's job. Another thing that's somebody's job that people don't even realize, and I had looked this up a while ago, the chimes in your car,
Hmm.
that's literally a job. Somebody actually sits there and makes those chimes. Those are
Right.
jobs.
So I slid down a little bit to cybersecurity. So we didn't
Mhm.
like just stay in the weeds on that one, but cybersecurity, chief information security officer,
Mhm.
150K to 300K. The
And it could
reason,
and it
yeah,
could be more. It could
mm-hmm,
be more. If they add
mm-hmm,
in equity, if they're adding in benefits, if they're doing a 10% match, if they're doing 25, if they're even doing in some cases I've seen and this is at one of the colleges out here, instead of a 10% match, they do a 200% match. Right? So the benefits of that could be so much greater. A security architect, there's also a security engineer, but that's also a cloud um a there's also cloud security, there's container security, there's security of the platform,
mm-hmm,
there's security of the websites, emails, that like security goes so in depth, and people have to realize that when you're looking at some of these jobs, again, going back to the baseline,
mm-hmm,
what skill sets do you have? What
right,
skill sets do they need? And how can you come up on these skill sets starting with free? And some things you may have to pay a small fee for, but what's a small fee versus a 10-year or 20-year career where you're making 100, 150, 200, 300,000, right? I, I don't understand why you would have the hesitation of being able to retire comfortably or live comfortably if you know that all you had to do is put in some time and effort in order to come back in on the back end, say 20 years from now, and say, okay, I'm cool, I'm comfortable, I can retire however I want to, I can go live where I want to
mm-hmm.
and not have somebody dictate where I live.
For sure. One of the biggest things too is like I live with a financial analyst, and she wasn't working for a huge company, y'all. She was working for a company that had like 20 employees, and she was making 150K a year. So it depends on what company you're going to. You guys aren't
Hmm.
always going to these big 500 people
Yeah.
companies. Sometimes you're going to an insurance office.
Yep.
Sometimes you're going to a she was at a capital firm.
Yep.
Basically they raised money, they needed to have all their data be secure, all their clients information be secure, among many other things. She was a financial analyst, but they had key roles in that office, and she was a key person. She had her own office.
Right.
She complained about how cold it was in there all the time, but other than that, she was making great money.
Hmm.
And so I think what happens is we think, well, the average is this. Who told you that? Who told you that's what the average is? And so you have to really research for yourself. And I'm like, y'all, let Glassdoor be your best friend. You know what I mean? Because even here, look, security consultant.
Hmm.
Security consultant is starting at 80K to 150K plus a year. Again, these pluses can go all the way.
Right, but
You
and
can
you
go
also got to
crazy with it.
remember W2 versus 1099,
Yes.
right? Because
Hmm.
you could be a consultant and come in at 1099, and you could be at $45 an hour, you could be at $150 an hour, you could be at 175 an hour. What do you bring to the table? What, again, I preach this, I stand by this. Be the solution.
Hmm.
If you're gonna walk in the door, they already described to you what the problem is. That's why the job rec is out there. That's the
Right.
problem. How are you gonna help them solve it? Right?
So, Miss Reed, real quick, I'm just gonna grab this one before we go on some more. But do you offer consulting? Finish DevOps Bootcamp, but now have trouble getting a job?
Yep, I do. You can find us, Women in Linux. We actually have a Slack group. I'll drop D could drop the link to the Slack group, so you could get your one-on-one schedule for your DevOps. I'm not sure who you went through for
Yeah,
that DevOps boot camp, because they should have had some type
to
of
get a job.
actually one-on-one training, some one-on-one interviews and so forth and so on. But yeah, I do I do consultations and so forth. And we also post jobs in there every day for DevOps, for cloud, everything. So you'll find jobs there too.
And the reason I'm addressing this is so many people, they are like, oh, tech doesn't pay that much. These people are saying this. And 9 times out of 10, when you talk to tech people, first thing they say is you need to be asking for a raise.
Mm-hmm.
One. Two, you need to be moving to different jobs. We have a person in here. I don't know if he's in here at all, but he moved from one. He basically left Dale and made $90,000 more at his
Yeah.
next job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when people say, "Oh, Ericka, they ain't paying out here," I'm like,
Yeah. I
okay.
don't know what people mean talk about they're not paying out here. Again, always go back to be the solution. And this is my favorite one right now is get the cert before you desert. Before you decide to desert the job, get a certificate first, then hop ship.
Mhm,
Because at least you're utilizing one the actual 5,000 that you get or 6,000 that you get the certificate, get the training, and
mhm,
then put yourself out there. You never know what can happen. You should always be looking, always seeing where the money is going,
mhm.
where they're pumping money into. Cybersecurity is huge. We
Security
just
investigator,
Yep.
Las Vegas right now.
Yeah,
If you a
MGM. I was
security
just getting ready to
investigator.
say MGM.
Hmm.
Right? MGM is just one of the ones,
Hmm.
right? There was another one before that years ago, and Toyota was a big hack. I think
Hmm.
Toyota had to give up like I think it was like 40 million or something like that years ago. But again, it's just like at some point you have to put in the time and you got to interview. I don't know how you do all the studying and you don't interview. You have to interview, write down the questions when you're interviewing so you could go back and study, learn how people formulate the questions. Everything that you need is right there in that job description. But what's also in there is your personality. Can you sell me on who you are as far as problem solving? Do you know how to work through problems? Can you craft an email?
Hmm. Y'all, listen. They got Grammarly. They got all kind of apps that make sure your email ain't wild, and people don't be using them. I
Nope.
promise you, people don't be using them.
Yep. And those things are important because you got to understand the customer, and that customer can be internal or external.
Oh wow, hold on one second. S's Trucking is blackout right now. Ransomware, 8,000 trucks down. Y'all, that's embarrassing.
Yep.
Because honestly, a lot of blue trucking companies are very blue collar, and they be having an old lady in there smoking cigarettes running their account. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, and then not only that, the probably one of the reasons probably why they're down is because nobody has updated their back end infrastructure.
mhm,
Nobody has come in and updated a server. Nobody's updated the firmware that they're using or the application that they're using, or they don't want to pay the money to update anything. And on top of that, they probably don't have anybody really watching the logs and saying, "Hey, yo, you know what? We've been seeing X, Y, and Z. You need to watch this, right?" So it's a number of things that could have happened in that situation. It could be external, internal, it could be both. But the fact that you got 8,000 out, 8,000 trucks down, how much money are you losing per minute
mhm.
being down? Per
Ooh,
minute.
money, money.
Yeah, per minute.
They losing a lot of money. They confirmed 11 hours ago, and they still ain't got it right. So you know it's serious. Um, Somebody said, "Can we get one of those 600K jobs at AI?" Listen, you got to hear some of these people's stories. They be the one
Yep.
man they caught. He reading. He's got three jobs. He making 344K a year.
Mm-hmm.
And
Overemployed.
yeah, he's overemployed, and he was like, "Well, I don't want my kids to go to college for free." I'm like, "Sir, at that rate, I'm paying for other assets. Get out of here."
Yep. Overemployed. And that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother deep dive going into that. When we're talking about 1099 versus W2 investments,
Hmm.
maxing out your 401k. You can only go up to 22.5 across the three companies if you're W2.
You getting
Uh,
your stock options from
your
them.
stock options, your
How long
SEP
you got to
IRA,
hold
if you're
them?
1099, what does that look like? Like the
Hmm.
list goes on. When we're talking about that, I've done a couple of shows talking about that. But
Hmm.
the other big thing when it comes to that is how do you get your tax bill down if
Hmm.
you're looking at that type of money? Like how do you go from a 35% tax bracket to a 24% or a 22% tax bracket? What is out there that can help you when you're looking at that?
And it's a thing also to talk about is the tech companies aren't really preparing you for what you should do with your money or how you should read these
Oh no.
contracts. Because we had a young lady, she when I was this is like 2019 Afro Tech, Oakland. We're talking. We had an Airbnb and we started talking to this girl and she's waiting on her Uber to come. And I'm like, okay, I'm just talking to her. She's like, yeah, I just got hired out here. I didn't even understand my contract. I had to call a lawyer. And I was like, well, what do you do? And she does something very software deep. I can't remember all the details, but she got
Hmm.
a fat, like when we told her we were there for Afrotech, she was like, oh my God, it's so much money. You should get in. She's like, I didn't even understand what $50,000 in stock options meant for me. I don't understand half this stuff. And I was like, where are you from? She's like, North Carolina A&T. She literally just graduated,
Hmm.
only had a internship, and they were like so impressed with her, how she worked. They offered her to come out to California. So here she is out in California, waiting on an
Trying to
Uber,
figure it out.
trying to figure it out. Okay. So
Yep.
it's very interesting. So um, it can be that way. She said, I'm up for a security, I guess a security role,
Mm.
700K thanks to Treed. Believe the stats. Wonderful show, ladies. Thank
Oh, you're
you.
welcome, Kayla. You're welcome. She got started at a conference. I introduced her to someone over at Yale. She took it from there.
Mhm,
Again, you got to be ready,
mhm.
because the people that I know, they come to me and it's like, hey, we need people today. And so
Like
if
right now.
right now, like right
Well,
now,
listen, when they offered,
one
they
and
asked me,
done,
they said,
like
when you ready? I
yeah,
said, well, whenever on board Monday.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, wait a
Like
minute, it's
it's one and
Thursday.
done. Like we're not going through four and
Yeah.
five. It's one and done, right? And then some people are like, okay, well, if you recommend them, we'll do the interview and then go from there. It really depends on
Mhm.
you. You set the tone for what you want that to look like, but you got to be ready. And the only way you get ready is you got to study. You got to continuously interview and understand when they ask questions, understand how to break that down, always focus on solving the problem, and then actually have a conversation with people.
Right.
If you go through an interview and you're not having a conversation, or you don't have no questions at the end, or you're not trying to find out how big the team is, or what's your number one pain
That's
point that you
so
need to
important.
solve day one. If you're not
Listen,
asking that, it's over.
tell them again. You need to be asking questions at the end, not how much I'm getting paid. What's my time off? Don't ask that. They
Right.
already know. We already know you want some time off. You need to be asking, what is when I first come on starting, how much training are y'all offering me? Um, y'all, what kind of supplies? Like some one company I did an interview where they were like, we got $500 for your desk. What's that gonna do? five
Nothing.
hundred dollars. What's that gonna do? That ain't gonna buy me no laptop. Y'all give me a laptop, right? Like, so some of these companies I interview with, you guys got to really ask some questions on the back end,
Right.
just to show that extra interest. Because then somebody's gonna say, well, out of all the interviews, this person asked like 10 questions.
Right.
They actually had questions and cared, right?
Right.
Um,
And another thing that I have been incorporating too is asking how long has that team been together. Why is that
mm,
important? Because
right.
now you get a chance to know if is it a new team. Is this team been together for some years?
Mhm,
Somebody rolled off. They have a rapport with each other. They know each other's temperament.
mhm.
You can kind of gauge if what kind of jokes do they have. All those things matter because your personality. You may not like what they're talking about. You may not like their personality. So you got to decide whether or not is it personality or is it a check.
Oh, listen, also, is it floating desk? So
Yep.
I know that some people don't think this is important, but if you're one of these people that are hybrid mode, do you have a desk when you do come in the office? Or are you just in a floating area where they just have a
Hmm.
series of tables, right?
Yeah.
Because I've seen that set up. I've seen some weird stuff where you're like, you just have random cubicles. Yeah, you just get in one.
Yeah.
I just
You just
get
get
in
one.
one. I just go walk down the hallway till I get one that's open. Yes,
Yes.
because everybody's not going to be here on the same day, so they don't buy X amount of cubicles.
And
Stuff
I
like that happens, y'all.
Yeah, and I seen where people are three people in the office, two people in the office, and now you have it
Ink
set up
stank,
where do you even is the person clean? Do you
lights
is
on, everything.
yeah. So it's a number of different situations when it comes to like being in the office and interacting.
Hmm.
with people, because that lends to other things, such as what projects are they working on,
Hmm.
what are some pain points that they may have, do they have openings on their particular team, how long is that contract going to be around, can I hop on that, they may be paying more,
Hmm.
they may just re-up on that particular contract. So there's just different things that you can get into in the office, but it's also things you can get into outside the office. I'm not trying to sell you on the office. I'm just trying to get you to utilize your time wisely if you're in the office.
And if they offer, I mean, if they have you come, because there is a push to get people to come in the office.
Of
Now
course.
as winter comes around with y'all germs, they're gonna let y'all be home. But if somebody pushes it, yes.
Yes,
Tech said we are in football season. Lots of these sports betting companies have tech jobs that pay. This is
of
MGM
course.
Graham had a whole app. What's his name? Jamie Foxx and Drake been doing all them advertisements for these different companies. They are
Hmm.
going to be hiring for, if you see my list here, security consultant, risk management, compliance,
Right.
security analyst, compliance. Now, what is compliance? Compliance is making sure you just following the rules. So
Correct.
you might not even be working as hard as somebody who is the security trainer or the security sales engineer. You're not even working that hard. You making sure they're doing what's compliant to the
Right.
law.
And audits as well too.
Hmm.
All
Hmm.
right.
Hmm.
You could be doing an audit, but another a big point here is somebody has to make, and I think you had Kamoy on with doing the documentation,
Hmm.
making things user friendly for just yourselves and for the
Yeah.
customer as well too, right? So that's another standpoint then when we're talking about cybersecurity and forensics. And let me add this because I know
You got incident reporter responder on the screen. So,
yeah, and I
yep.
know what you call it talked about tech, but you
Hmm.
know who else is hiring too? The NBA, the NFL.
Yeah, yeah.
They all have tech in them.
State Farm.
State Farm, all of them, they have tech.
HEB. HEB
It,
here in Texas, one of the fastest growing companies in America.
yep.
Um, I'm certain. Like when people say, "Oh, you
Yeah,
work for HEB,"
HEB has a huge tech and cybersecurity presence. So does
Mhm.
Kroger and Publix, Home Depot as well. Delta, all of those places have a huge cybersecurity, DevSecOps, platform engineering presence. Their jobs, and then you get perks with Delta. Delta has perks, and let's not forget everybody's favorite Spirit.
Spirit, listen, Southwest and Spirit had to invest in some security this
Yeah,
year because they was fighting for their life. Um, so here's the crazy part. Yes, ask a question is so important. Show these people who did research and care about the role. Here's the even
correct.
crazier part. I applied for the same company 3 times in like every role they had. And then when they were like, "Girl, what do you want?" I was like, "I really love cybersecurity. What do you love about it?" But I want to advance my knowledge in cybersecurity. I want to learn how to protect companies and help people, all this stuff,
Right,
right?
right, right,
But it's
right,
because I applied 3 times. I think I came up on the alert, like, what is this person want? Um, and it was like, yes, I want this role. Give it to me. Quit playing with me. Uh, and each time I adjusted my answers on the back end, they did a little self assessment. But y'all, the time frame I applied between those 3 jobs, I think there were maybe 4 weeks, and they were like, "All right, here you go, girl, you work." So you gotta really understand applying a little pressure, right? I also use Octopi. I'm not gonna lie to you, I use Octopi, but I
hmm
also applied for companies I wanted. I just wanted cybersecurity because who can you not call and be like, "Hey, how's your company doing?
right,
How's everybody? Is there a lot of password issues? Is there, you know, what I mean, you could just go a million ways with that."
correct,
And so that's where I was at with it.
correct. And
Somebody said,
everybody's always looking to protect themselves.
for sure, especially when the news. Every time the news come out about some hacking, I go on hackernews.com. It's a wonderful
Hmm.
website. So if
Hacker News always got something
yeah.
going on. Hacker News, and then of course the subreddits as well too.
Hmm.
They have a ton of information, and then really, I go and look at the CVEs. Like you can go and check out the CVEs for all the different devices and operating systems that are the latest and greatest out there to see. And that's what people do. They scan for these vulnerabilities that get reported, And then somebody may issue a bug bounty. Now that's another way people make money in
Mhm.
cybersecurity, are these bug bounties.
Mhm.
And so you may have a bug bounty out there, and a group of people may get together, and they may go after a bug bounty that's $100,000 or $500,000, depending on the company. Some people put out there, hack me. I want you to
Mhm.
hack me. And then so we can improve our product, so we can improve our company and so forth. So there are bug bounties out there that people purposely put out there for you to join these different groups, and so they can get better at securing themselves.
Mhm. And so you guys see more cybersecurity project manager, risk manager, compliance manager, $90,000, trainer, right?
Oh,
So
the trainers, I
yeah.
talked about this before. The
Mhm.
trainers over at sans.org go far, right?
Mhm.
So once you pass an exam with 85 and older, they're, and over, you can apply to be a trainer, or you could do a TA as well too. But what happens there? Well, some of their trainers are getting paid 12,000 a week to teach a course, right? That's to teach a course. It's 5,000 if you, I think it's 5,000 or 6,000 if you're going to be a TA for that particular trainer that week. But just imagine you got a course that runs at least 90% of the year. You're doing a training for at least twice a month. That's 24,000 a month. That's 1099,
Mhm.
24,000 a month. And you still have your own company, where you may go into a place. Say you went into a place like a Toyota or like a McDonald's and taught them on their training. You may charge them for their training. You may charge them $30,000 depending on the training. So now you got your 24,000 you're getting every month, and your 30,000 on a one off.
The
It's
vertical is unlimited, really,
Yep.
if people want to go there. Someone said, "Hey, this is Annie. What is the best way to get an entry level role?
Entry level world
And
in what
what?
though? In what?
And what?" So she said, next question, she said, "What is the best way to get an entry level role with no IT background, just a boot camp cert?
Yeah.
What's,
So for
what's the
me,
cert?"
it depends on what you're trying to do and your skill set. I
Mhm.
really would say it's gonna sit down again, going back to that skills matrix, and sitting down and saying, what are you really good at? What are you leaning towards? If you just want a random answer as to like what's the best boot camp to go into, it's really gonna depend on what your level is for programming, what your level is for detail when it comes to programming, and
Mhm.
then what your level is when it comes to cloud. Right now, like I said, AWS, GCP, Azure are all offering classes for free. Go take a class and see if you like it. And then if you do like it and it makes sense to you, continue down that path. But if it doesn't, you go somewhere else. But there are different boot camps out there, but a lot of things are free. Excuse me, you can hit edX.org. edX.org has a ton of classes. The CNCF has some boot camps. I think the CNCF even has a cloud boot camp as well too. That's discounted, and they also have someone checking on you to make sure that you're going through the class and make sure that you're understanding it. So there's a ton of boot camps out there. But where do you want to be in the next 5 years, 10 years? Like where, and then too, I always tell people this: where do you see yourself? What companies do you see yourself with? Because we get caught up with, I just want to work, but
Mhm.
you should be wanting to work and invest. And I'm not talking about your 401k and your IRA and your HSA. I'm talking about investing outside of that. Like, what does that look like? How can you buy a house? How can you buy a car wash? How can you buy a farm? Those things, like, we really gotta start thinking outside of the box, not just our everyday 9 to 5 or 10 to 6, however you want to slice that.
Mhm. I also have this other one. I forgot I might be able to put it into because someone said something about interest level. So let's, because a lot of people say, well, I was doing this. I want to do tech. Okay, what in tech, right? So this is just
Hmm.
another sheet we put together. Technical support specialist, right?
Yep.
Because you said entry level.
Help desk.
Help desk analyst, social media manager, quality
Yep.
assurance engineer, right? We can
Cloud
go
engineer.
crazy.
uh
Cloud engineer.
yeah,
Look at the
so
difference. Yeah.
it's so here's the easiest route to me that I think
Mhm.
gets overlooked. that a lot of people don't go and try. Go apply at Rackspace, HostGator, any of the
Oh, yeah.
any of the places, Namecheap, those
Yes.
places,
Love name keep.
yeah, those places have really a more centered towards help desk, but they're also centered towards customer service as well
Hmm.
too, in
Hmm.
tech and help desk and documentation. Another one would be what's their name? They're out of New York. Oh God, I just forget. Uh, Digital Ocean is
Hmm.
another one.
Digital Ocean. Y'all, did y'all hear that? Y'all better, she be giving out the game. Digital Ocean, namecheap.com,
Yep.
HostGator.
HostGator,
Kayla just said,
Rackspace,
Rackspace, my bad.
any of the online um data centers, the data centers as well too. They're selling a product, they're selling a platform,
Hmm.
high velocity. You can look at data centers, the hosting centers around, and they're looking for people to come help them sell their services and get people signed up. They got to make money, they got to stay
Hmm.
open. The doors got to stay open. So that's another one as well.
She said Home Depot runs a SWE boot camp for retail employees
Hmm.
and are always hiring for security in the ATL corporate office. What is SWE, Kayla, if you could help me out or if you know that?
Software engineer.
Love it.
Yeah, software
Okay.
engineer. In fact, Home Depot has an apprenticeship program where you can work at Home Depot and then you can come from the floor of Home Depot and go into a boot camp. Publix has an apprenticeship program where you
Hmm.
can work. You could be working as a cashier, and if you don't want to stay at a cashier, you can roll into their apprenticeship program. They usually start anywhere from 40 to 50,000, and then once you get really good at stuff, then you can move into higher levels as well too. But you get, if have you looked at the benefits for Publix? Have you looked at the benefits for
Okay.
Kroger, HEB, eat? And you got to remember, Kroger is the number one brand for grocery stores
Yep.
in the nation.
They bought up a bunch of
They
stores. We
bought
don't
you a
even
bunch of
know.
stores, and then the mergers they was getting ready to have with Albertsons, the two combined, they were going to be 700,000 people.
Hmm.
You don't think they need to migrate some systems? They need to train some people.
For
They need to
sure.
do some cybersecurity. You got to
Truist
look
Bank.
at it. Hmm?
Truist Bank, because Truist Bank did that merger with
Yep.
SunTrust Bank and they had all these issues.
Yep.
Um, Says, I was deep in the interview process with Kroger and they are a top 50 places to work in tech, but they ghosted me. No worries. That's sad.
Go
But
back and
about me.
apply again. Just because they go through one time, that just means you need to go back again. Like
Well,
just
he in Texas
go back.
now. He done got his big money now.
Yeah, you know how it was an article, it came out, I don't know, probably about 7 years ago, where this guy interviewed with Amazon. He had been on like 20 interviews with
Dang.
Amazon, and he just kept applying, right? It might
Why
have been
not?
Google, but he just kept applying and kept interviewing until he got a job.
Hey, he said that's where I want to be. I don't care about none of these other places. I love it. She said Kohl's, Walmart, Chick-fil-A are all hiring data scientists, data analysts, data visualization. They want you to get some Mo chicken sandwiches. Mo. How can we get you to get Mo?
Right.
Harvard, IBM, and many other have free training in AI.
Yep.
Speaking of investing, I found out about data center REITs this weekend.
Yeah, go look
Okay,
at K
okay.
Diggy. Go look at when you're talking about data center REITs. I actually did a show on that. Go
Hmm.
look on Seeking Alpha and just type in Seeking Alpha data center REITs. There's like a whole article on it. I've been talking about data centers as an investment for people because we're not gonna stop creating data, and we need to secure the data, and we're just going to keep expanding. So your places, like your financial institutions, are super huge on this as well too. So data center REITs is huge. Data centers is as an investment is a huge thing. And plus we need to refresh our data centers because there are a lot of older data centers that don't have GPUs in them, so they need to be tech refreshed with GPUs. That's why the Nvidia and your AMD and your Broadcom and all of them are super huge, because we need to refresh our data centers with GPUs and different GPUs. So that's why the whole chip manufacturing is super huge as well too, right? So when we start getting into that, looking at Cincinnati and all these places where they're building in Ohio, big money,
Mhm.
jobs, go get you some.
She said, "Go get you some." She said, "Public benefits go stupid."
Hmm.
I wonder how many of us take advantage of apprenticeship programs as these companies.
Probably not a
Um,
lot.
Probably not a lot. Data center REITs will do well with AI, ML, spatial. I'm
Hmm.
messing it up.
Hmm.
GPUs.
Hmm.
As I said, this is gold.
Thank you.
Um, so when you've come on before, you talked about AWS cloud. We've talked about Linux, and what was the
Hmm.
third one usually?
AWS Cloud, Linux, and automation too, uh, Terraform or Ansible, and also Kubernetes. You need some type of orchestration there, and that's a common across all the platforms. Those are like basic skills from me looking at the different skills matrix for site reliability engineering, for platform engineering, and for DevSecOps. And you could throw in whatever coding you want on that. When I say coding, any programming language such as Go, Rust, or Python. Those
Mhm.
skills right there are going to last you the next 10 to 20 years, and you're going to be at a level. And people, and listen, this is the one thing I want to tell y'all, and I say this all the time: people are going to tell you you can't make this money. Stop listening to them, because they ain't never made it.
Mhm.
They ain't never made it, right?
Yeah,
You
they ain't
can.
these places. They ain't golfing. They ain't going these luncheons. They not going these events. They don't know.
They
Just
not they're not in the fold, and it's
hmm
okay that they're not in the fold, because it's just not for them. That's not something that where they want to be.
hmm
But I'm telling you that the money and the opportunities are out there. The time that it takes for you to put into it is the time that it takes. If you know that if you know that you're dyslexic, or you know that you need help, get help. why
Yeah,
why suffer? Don't suffer. And it's the other thing I also get caught up in: stop studying by yourself.
right.
Join groups, piggyback off each other, learn from each other.
How long should they be studying per week? I say 20 hours minimum, just because I'm like in college, you study for 20 hours.
Yeah.
I'm like,
So the rule of thumb is, and this is what I've always seen: if a class is 40 hours, go
hmm
ahead and do that 2 to 2.5 times.
hmm
So if it's 40 hours, you're probably going to take you 80 hours. Some people are gifted. It don't
hmm
take them long. They
yeah,
can go through, they can get it, they understand it. Right? Some people are very good at taking tests. Some
hmm
people are not. Don't feel bad because you failed the test. Lord knows I failed plenty.
hmm
But because I have the knowledge and I understand it and I know how to apply it. Some people are really good at taking a test. Some people can't apply. They can't apply what they learn. If you know how
hmm
to apply what you learn, that's way more valuable than you passing the test. The test is icing on the cake. But
right.
when but if you know how to apply what you know in an interview, in a take-home test, on the job, that's way we're way more happier than you. I've interviewed people that told me they've been in Linux for 12 years, and they couldn't even log into the box. I'm like, how you been in it for 12 years and you can't even get on the box?
They
Like,
can't. They
nah.
said, help, help, I can't.
Tell me, I need to look up how to SSH to the box. What you mean you need to look that up? That's
hmm
that's that's one-on-one. That's day one.
They not ready.
They not No, they're not studying.
It says right here, it says, wow, Erica, this woman is a wealth of knowledge. You've been talking about tech. My antennas are picking up all this good stuff. What is her info? Again, please say your info. You know, people are coming in
Yep.
and out.
Women in Linux, everywhere on social media. You can find me at Women in Linux, Instagram, TikTok, even LinkedIn. We have a page there too, Facebook. I'm also Tamika Reed on LinkedIn as well. If you're looking for me directly, hit
Mhm.
us up. D is still in the chat. She could drop the link to the actual sessions for one-on-one. Anybody that's looking for a consultation. We also have a Slack as well too. Get with us, let us know what you're looking for. We have people in here that can tell you true that we I try to get you ready for whatever. I prefer for people to be a Swiss Army knife, so you
Mhm.
can dictate where you want to go, not somebody dictating and telling you where you should go. And that includes the industry as well.
Right. What are your thoughts on COBOL? Was it COBOL?
COBOL is still around. They're still
Mhm.
hiring for COBOL. They're paying anywhere from 175 to 250. Go on IBM. IBM has classes on COBOL. Mainframes. The mainframes are still there. They're still running the banking systems. They're still the back end. So you can go
Banking.
look.
Anytime bank.
Yeah,
Bank gonna need
mainframe.
you.
Listen, the other thing that I don't think people realize either, and I've said this before, I say it again. You have never heard Mass Mutual or New York Life laying off.
It's rare.
They have
Rare.
tech jobs.
Yeah.
Go look at them. Go seek
Liberty
and find.
Mutual.
Liberty Mutual. Like they have tech jobs. These insurance companies, they signing people up left and right. Prime America is another one.
Hmm.
They got tech jobs.
Yeah.
Where every time you thinking about something, they got a tech job there.
You know, it's funny. Books a Million.
Yep.
Borders still exist on the internet,
Yep.
interwebs. Toys R Us is now getting ready to
Barnes
open
and
some new
Nobles.
stores. Barnes and Nobles. Pretty much anything you think of, it has some tech components, you guys. Like
Right.
anything you can think of, just
Right.
about anything.
You know who's really big on tech? Dollar General, right? A
What don't they do?
CVS.
What don't Dollar General do?
Dollar
They just
General,
out looking for land
CVS.
all
They,
day.
they all got they all got tech, and they're huge tech department.
Mhm.
Walmart, huge tech department. Target, huge tech department.
Y'all, come on now. Let's see. Um, it says banks and governments still using legacy system. Boomers with cobalt sprints are retiring. They probably are.
Yep,
They getting older. They getting
they're
older.
retiring, but they're also bringing them back out of retirement.
They don't have no choice.
Because
Who they
they
gonna
don't
put?
they because nobody is learning a lot of these older languages like C plus plus,
Mhm.
C, COBOL. They're not learning, and I think you can even go on edX.org or the CNCF. They have free COBOL classes,
Mhm.
so you could go spend time. I remember this was some years ago, probably like 6 or 7 years ago. North Carolina A&T and IBM actually did a partnership together to train people to train the students on mainframe and COBOL because they knew that the people coming that the boomers were getting up out of there
They rolling out the door.
and
Listen,
nobody else is teaching those things and they still need
now you're gonna have trainers 82 years old out here.
them. No, baby, put that over here.
Come on now. Where's my sweater at? Uh, Dollar General was hounding my Salesforce marketing cloud experience. They hiring like crazy. Dollar
Yep.
General was like, "What's your name? Kenya? Looks perfect to me. Come on in." You ever see that BRS like handing there? It don't matter. It don't matter. Come on in.
Yeah, I keep trying to tell you, Dollar General is hiring like crazy. Like Dollar General has been hiring like crazy since 2020. They have been hiring like crazy since 2020.
Let me see. And then this one said, "What is cyber adjusting?" Got my adjuster's license and heard that title today.
No, I don't know what cyber
I don't know.
adjusting
It
is. I've
keeps
never heard
showing
of
you.
cyber
There's a
adjusting.
million things. Learn something new every day.
Yeah,
Might be
I had to
virtual.
look that up. I've never heard of that.
They said DoD contracts 8% tech jobs. Contractors hiring daily.
Yeah, DoD contracting. Listen. We call them golden handcuffs for DoD contractors. Let me tell you why we call it golden handcuffs. We call it golden handcuffs because you get your clearance, and then followed by your clearance, they also do the credit checks and the whole nine. But once you get your clearance, and depending on the level of clearance, you can hop in and out of different jobs, different contracts, and so forth. And those contracts, and this, I'm strictly talking contractors. I'm not talking about the GS level. I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about them at all. I'm not talking about a GS schedule. I need to make that clear. I'm literally talking about your DoD contracting. On DoD contracting with DevSecOps or whatnot, you can go in a range from 200,000 to 350,000. It really depends on you. What
Mhm.
do you want to do? DevSecOps, site reliability engineer, AI, machine learning, SE Linux, securing containers, the whole nine, all of that. You could be in a range. It really depends on what you how you see yourself.
Okay, what was the other one I saw? And DoD means Department of Defense before
Yeah,
somebody.
Department of Defense.
What? Okay. Amazon fulfillment centers have data centers.
Yep.
I've learned so much in my IT field. They need network dev engineers.
Yep. Uh, go look at Palo Alto as networking. They have free training. Cisco, and then Cisco DevNet for the automation side of that. Using, you can even use Ansible to deploy and your configurations on your Cisco routers and different networking different networking equipment. But also Palo Alto, your Cisco, your Juniper,
Mhm.
big money. Though they control data centers. Without networking, we don't have this string. Without networking, we don't
For
have this
sure.
string.
StreamYard hiring.
Right.
Said there are so many options in tech. I wish the curmudgeons on the corner would steer and take a look. Oh man, I can't. I was like, man, tech isn't everything, even adjusting. Yeah,
Yep.
I would like to get in tech, but have no idea where to start. You
Oh,
know,
gotta sign. You gotta sign up for a call. But then again, I'm gonna put some homework on you.
yeah,
Write down what your skills are.
boom.
Write down what your skills are.
Tamika
That's
told me years
important.
ago, go to tech sales. This is before the rage, y'all. When
Hmm.
we did this about 4 years ago. She was like, you probably do good in tech sales. And I laughed, but here we are today.
Yeah, tech
So
sales.
yeah.
And remember, tech sales and every you got to look at, see, people look at AWS as this big conglomerate, right? But
Mhm,
they sell services. That's what they
mhm,
do. They're selling you a platform, and that platform has a set of services on it. Now, if you really understand how to translate that service in that and what it's providing, or that product and what it's providing to a customer, and how it can help them solve their problem, you can go into sales. Customer service experience, all those things matter. each
mhm,
each component matters, but you have to understand who you are. If you don't understand that you're really good at storytelling,
mhm,
that you could be in sales, that you could sell anything, then you got to figure some time over and figure out who you are. You need to figure that out. But I would say first start with what your skill sets are. Like, what are you really good at, right? You can come up with a skill matrix. Are you really good at talking? Do you like detailed work? Right? Are you good at details? Like, really hone in on that. And then sit down and be like, okay, well, what kind of job can that lend towards? And you can use, and this is the cheat, the hack right here.
mhm.
Use Chat GPT and say,
Honey.
here are my skill sets. What tech jobs
Mhm.
could I really apply for? And then now you got a list of jobs. Then you get down in the rabbit hole. You be like, oh, I could do
Go, go. Okay. The last couple ones, I ain't gonna hold you here all night.
that.
He said, please negotiate those high salaries. Do not be afraid to tell companies what you're worth. Honey,
They'll
Glassdoor.com
tell
is
you
telling
what
you.
you worth.
Yeah. And come back and ask in 90 days for some more money.
Yep. Listen, if you're making a jump, you should be moving. I'm adding for inflation. I used to say 25,000 at a minimum. I'm adding 30. I'm adding for inflation 30,000 at a minimum before you make a jump. Don't make a jump for 10,000. You're not gonna see that money. Taxes will eat that up.
That's what my friend was saying. He was gonna, they'll offer him to move to another team, and he's like, "This is a lateral move." They're like, "Well, you getting 10,000?" He's like, "That ain't enough.
That ain't enough. That
That's
ain't
a
it.
trick. That's a trick."
You ain't got the answer, Sway.
He said, I just found Learning Linux for LFCA certification
Mhm.
specialization course on Coursera. Is
Yeah.
it legit?
Yeah, there's different ones. So that's the Linux Foundation Certified Administrator. You can go to the CNCF and look at that one as well too. They have their courses set up there. There's the LPIC, there is the LPI, there is one the Linux Plus from CompTIA. It really depends on you. The one I know that's most recognized is the RHCSA, and that's from Red Hat. But again, it depends on what your tolerance is, how much money you got to spend. These Some of the courses are not cheap, but go and get your Linux. I don't care what you do. learn Linux as a fundamental baseline, and then you can go vertical from there. You can go into cybersecurity, you can go into sales, you can go into architecting, you can go into cloud. It
Mhm.
really depends on what you want your career to look like, but get started. Don't sit on the sideline and let everybody else come in and start taking all these free classes for free,
Mhm.
and then you still
3.99.
sitting on the sideline talking about, I wonder if I could, I wonder if I should.
I think people should start applying too. Just, hey, you just don't know who might call. You might just
Yeah, you never know who's
might have to
interested. You
leave.
never know where they may can map you to another person and go from there. That's why you need to know your skill set.
Bingo. She said mind map. Hashtag mind map.
Yep.
Okay, tell them where they can find you. Where listen, we'd love for you to drop by the Breaking Into Tech Facebook group anytime, anywhere.
I'm a member, but I'm not sure when we gonna get a stream or whatnot going, because
Oh, inside there, yeah, we're gonna figure it out because
yeah, because
I let people vote, but really it's gonna be Thursdays.
you
I'm like Wednesday or
if you
Thursday.
do a stream,
Thursday.
if you do a stream and that with 14,000 people, that may break the internet. They may break
Listen,
it.
and we're gonna be like, all right, that's enough for the night. Good night.
Yeah.
So if you have more questions, concerns, I'm gonna chop this video up and throw it all over the internet, as you know we do here.
Yeah.
Where can they find you, and how can they book a call? Because I think it's not gonna let if you have a link, it won't show in here. So I have
Oh,
to
okay. Yeah.
physically put the
So
link
you
in.
can find me on social media everywhere, Women in Linux. I'm on LinkedIn as Tamika Reed. If you would like to book a call, we have a one-on-one session. We have career sessions. We have
Mhm.
coaching sessions. Oh, I should say career assessment, coaching sessions, resume review, and just
Resume
really,
review.
yeah, and just really try to dive into who you are and what that could look like and where you want to be, as well, because I think a lot of times the fact that the information is free is fine. I think a lot of people get lost into, like, okay, well, what should my path look like?
Mhm.
And instead of taking it back and say, okay, well, what I want to look like in the first three years, and then worry about the next thing for your path, because you get your feet wet, and what you decided that you want to do when you first start may actually pivot and
You might
change.
want to change.
Right. So let's
Uh,
get your 3 years done. But social media, Women in Linux, Tamika Reed, everything,
mhm.
as well too, if you're looking. And we also have a YouTube channel. You can find us on YouTube, Women in Linux. We go live. We do our lives every week, talking about tech from a ton of different perspectives and investing.
For sure,
That's our
for
goal.
sure. I love it. I love it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming through.
You're welcome.
Again, you guys, we try to give you live from the field. Y'all need to tell Miss Tamika Reed to find us some Boulder tickets for football and stop being stingy. I know she's been to the games. I know she's been out there. Okay, tell her stop hogging the tickets. Thank you so much for being here today, and make sure you email me those links so I can pin them to the top
Oh yeah,
comment.
yeah,
If
yep,
you can help me there,
yep,
email me that. So, all
yep.
right, you guys, this is your girl Ericka Classic Line Blog. Thank you for being here on another Tech Tuesday. I hope you guys make more money, invest the difference, and live well. All right, you guys.
Y'all be safe.
It's almost. Hold on. It's acting weird. The computer's acting weird. Oh no. We're gonna see in a second, y'all.